other than late-night TV host Stephen Colbert. A friend of Context, Father Tom Rosica, sat down with Stephen in New York City before the Pope's visit. Take a look at this.
Let's create a scenario. The scenario is...
Okay, let's improv.
Monday morning, CBS building, late night show headquarters, 90 people around your team of writers and everybody else.
More than that there, yeah.
And
yeah.
Your three principal people, these three wonderful women I've been dealing with to get you here.
Yes.
They come up with the idea and say, Monsieur Colbert, or whatever they call you there.
They
Stephen,
do call me Monsieur Colbert.
Monsieur Colbert.
Yes.
We want you to bring Pope Francis onto this show. Let's create an interview. What would you ask Pope Francis if he were sitting next to you on this brand new set that you just built at CBS for The Late Show?
I would ask him one of the questions you asked me, which is, how do you achieve joy? Because it is well, joy and love. Joy, I think, is the expression of the love of the moment that you're in right now, and the love of the person that you're with right now. And I would ask him about how love leads him to joy, or does love lead him to joy? E. Cummings said, "Love is the every only God who breathed this world so glad and big." He also said that, "Who pays any attention to the syntax of things will never wholly kiss you. Wholly to be a fool, my blood approves." And so I would ask him about being a fool for Christ, because many of the things that the Pope has said have been seen as, I think probably in some ways by people outside of the church, though I don't know what the reaction is, and I'm not a member of the Curia, as like sort of bomb throwing, but because the syntax, the dogma of the church is often perceived of as the syntax of things, as opposed to be holy, to be a fool, my blood approves. To be a fool for Christ is to love, because we are here to dig our brief moment in time. And I would ask him how he puts that first, because how do you get to where you are in the church and not to be consumed by the law as opposed to the love that led to the law?
What do you think? What do you think he would answer you? You've been watching him now for a couple of years and listening to him and watching the crowd response. What do you think's underneath all of that? What keeps him from being buried under something or being burdened by this wonderful tradition of ours?
I don't know. I mean, I mean it when I said a gift of the Holy Spirit. That doesn't mean something that you don't have to work for, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think you have to make a choice to perceive Christ in the people around you and to love them without fear that anything will be taken from you in the gift that you give them of your own love. The message of ultimate sacrifice that Christ shows us on the cross. He likes people. There's a simple way.
It helps.
He likes people. He's grateful for his existence.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people end up being bitter about their own existence, but to be grateful even in the face of tragedy, or to find a great gift in bringing comfort to others, also can, I think, lead you to joy. But those are all presumptuous answers. I don't know. I've said this before, but you can't laugh and be afraid at the same time. And I don't mean that like mentally you can't hold both things. It's somehow like autonomic. It's somehow physical. I think it's one of the reasons why we laugh when we're afraid. Our body's trying to get rid of that feeling inside of us. But if you're laughing, you just won't be afraid, which is why it's so important to laugh at the devil. I forgot who said it. It might have been Milton, who says you must laugh at the devil because the mockery alone he cannot abide.
I always say that several years ago, a certain president of the United States went to Iraq looking for the weapons of mass destruction and didn't find them. We have the gift of mass construction. It's called joy. It's a dangerous weapon. And sometimes against the most horrific things that have happened in our lives, in the world, the best thing that can happen sometimes is laughter and a smile and joy.
Joy is super important. We, at the old show, and hopefully the new show, we're just starting up, we used to call it the joy machine because Because especially when it was really hard, like on those days that, doing a show all year round, because we do 200 shows a year, and it's really hard to do that, but you don't want to bank down your ambition, so you'll do a really hard show in a really hard schedule, and somehow when it was hardest, it would often feel the most joyful, or often does feel the most joyful, and that's when I would sort of jokingly call it the joy machine. But it's sort of true, because the only way to approach something that's really hard, it's got to be with joy, because if you don't approach it with joy, it's just a machine, and it'll grind you up. And the lesson that I took from that is that doing something joyfully doesn't make it any easier. It only makes it better. And it makes it communal, that we're all doing it together. When you work in fear, or when you work in distress, you often feel alone. But jokes, laughter, humor, joy, whatever you want to call it, it connects people. And as I said earlier, what do we want to be? Not alone.
You can watch our entire show on the Pope's visit to the U.S. at our website, contextwithlorna.com. Take a look, then join the conversation at Context TV on Facebook and Twitter. You can find all our shows and new digital content each week at contextwithlorna.com.